What's up guys, Travis here again with Lucky Tackle Box. Sometimes, whether it's a cold front or heavy pressure, these fish go into a finicky bite and they have lockjaw, do not want to eat much. So that's when you can move to an ultra finesse rig. You basically downsize everything, and that can be the key to getting some bites. So today, we're using Lunkerhunt's Bento Bait, which is a small little lifelike looking bait, absolutely perfect for this downsizing rig to try to get these fish back into biting mode. This technique is all about downsizing everything, starting with your bait. And the Bento Bait, it's a realistic look and its small little profile is absolutely perfect for this. And then I pair that up with a 1/16 ounce jig head. What that does is allows that bait to slowly spiral down to the bottom, and that's gonna be key in attracting those fish. Next, I spool up with 4 to 6 pound Seaguar Flourocarbon line. Yes, I just said 4-pound line. When you're fishing these small profile baits for these finicky bass, you need a very thin line that's less visible to the fish, also can cast further, but most important thing is it really allows that bait to look natural in the water. So we're gonna talk a little bit more about how you fish with 4-pound line, because there's some certain things you gotta do to make sure you can control these fish and actually get them in the boat. Next, I want a small profile reel, like a 1500 series, and then I pair that up on about a 6'10" to 7 foot drop shot rod. I need a sensitive tip to make those, to really whip those casts and also to feel those subtle bites, but then I need a big give in that backbone so I can really play these fish on this light line. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. Oh, here we go. Watch this, guys. All right, guys, so I got 4-pound line, right? So I've got to make sure I don't horse this smallie. You've got to play them. If you try to get this fish in the boat too fast, you are going to be disappointed. But I can't wait to get this fish in here because I got to show you the size of fish you can catch. Just because you're downsizing your bait does not mean you are downsizing the size fish you're going to catch. Because there is nothing downsized about this smallie right here. So look at this. Sometimes, see, that fish just ran. When you're just relying on your drag to be loosened up, a lot of times when that fish runs, it takes a split second for that drag to engage. And what can happen is that fish has gets enough power on it that it'll pop any kind of phrase in that real light line you're using. So you want to make sure, what I like to do is I have the back reel engaged, so that way, when that fish makes the run, it turns to make the run, I'm already giving it slack, and that way it can't get the leverage it needs to break this line. And eventually this fish is gonna tire out and I'm gonna be able to put him in the boat. Oh yes, come here, come here. Holy cow. That is a slab. That is a smallmouth slab right there. Look at that on that nice little tiny Bento Bait. The first key to finesse fishing is long cast. You want to make sure that spool is fully lined up so you can really make that long cast. And once you make the cast, you want to let that bait fall on slack line. What that slack line does is it gives that bait the freedom to slowly spiral down, and that mimics dying bait fish, which will attract these bass from a long distance away. Now, once you have that bait on the bottom, I have 2 different retrieves I like to switch back and forth from until I find what the fish are responding to the best. My first retrieve is slow little hops on semi-taut line. I don't want that line to be too tight because I'm gonna yank that bait too far off the bottom. The trick is to get that little Bento Bait just having little erratic motions off the bottom, and that can be huge in triggering some strikes. The second one is to slowly swim that bait in and out of the rocks. And to do that, you just make little lifts with the rod, let that bait sink back down. Lift with the rod, let it sink back down and keep repeating. And that's gonna make that bait just slowly swim in and out of those rocks. A little more subtle approach also can work really well. This technique's a very slow moving presentation. So obviously it's not gonna be very good at efficiently covering a lot of water. So I like to use this in areas that I already know that there's fish in the area, but they're not biting on some of the other traditional lures. Some other favorites of mine are any kind of point, especially long, gradual sloping points with some kind of gravel bottom. Another favorite is steep walls. I like to throw this bait and let it just sink on that slack line. It can absolutely be lethal. For whatever the reason, these fish sometimes go into just a lockjaw pattern. They don't want to bite anything that they've been biting in previous days or whatnot. Whether it's from heavy fishing pressure or maybe a cold front moving in, they've just decided they're not going to be feeding as heavily as they were. And going to a finesse, an ultra finesse rig like this can be the key to getting a few more bites out of your day. But it's very important to start with the right bait. And Lunkerhunt's Bento bait is the right little small profile and realistic look that can be perfect for this technique. So guys, hopefully this video helped you out. If you enjoyed the video, always give us that thumbs up button on the bottom and leave a comment. I make sure to read all those and respond when I have time. And then if you want to learn any more about the products that we're using in this video, check the description box below for the links to those websites.